So hello everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much everyone for whom this is their third day of being in this wonderful space. It's great for us as the GSMA to actually be doing an event in America. We don't actually, I think this is the first time we've done a proper event in America. It's always a pleasure to be in New York, and it's also a pleasure to be in a space that's quite so funky and innovative as this, which is a perfect tone to set for what's going to be hopefully a very funky and innovative session, if that's the right thing to say. It's a very good time to be discussing MMU and for everyone to be in the room to take this forward, because as our interim research reports have said, which of course you all have read the press release and know the numbers off by heart, but we're in a stage where we're seeing a phenomenal evolution of mobile money as it starts to become something that is no longer a small value-added service for operators, but something that becomes key to their services. And we see that this industry is going fast. There are now 208 mobile money for the unbanked services in 83 countries, compared to 178 in 74 in January this year. So that's a phenomenal amount of growth just within the 3 quarters of this year so far. And this really illustrates 2 key interesting points about the industry overall. Firstly, that these services are growing really fast with 30 new launches in 2013 and an additional 117 planned deployments that we know of. That means that this service really is continuing to grow at a phenomenal rate of knots. And I think we're absolutely at that steep incline point of the hockey stick now. And second, that the mobile money industry is becoming increasingly competitive, and the vast majority of deployments in 2013 were in markets where there were already mobile money services deployed. And obviously this is going to continue to be the case as we reach a saturation of those markets that don't have mobile money services now do have them. And we find that 2 or more mobile money services in 51 markets compared to 40 at the end of 2012 and to 33 at the end of 2011, showing that mobile money industry is increasingly something that really drives competition and drives innovation from those operators. And 24 of those markets have free services or more. So we're seeing people bringing scale to these markets by delivering those services alongside each other. Most importantly, it's becoming a core service for MNOs. We've been running this program for, and I'm looking at Senior Yasmina for the exact dates, but 6 years now? 5 years now. Feels like 6. And I think we've seen it become something which is absolutely core to mobile operators. It's interesting from my perspective that as we've seen a lot of the group conversations we've had with mobile operators reach maturity, often now mobile money is a separate business unit that reports into the CEO. Certainly in the most successful deployments, it's a separate business unit that reports into the CEO and is seen as one of the core pillars of those operators. And we're seeing that because of the growth in users. So we've seen free mobile money services that have passed the bar of 1 million active users, and by active we mean within a 30-day period their users are using the service. So we've seen free services pass the bar of 1 million active users between June 2012 and June 2013, which means there are now 9 services that have more than 1 million active users, which is a phenomenal statistic that we really are seeing that level of scale. And more organisations are actually seeing this now as commercial benefit as we see our members take this service seriously. And in the 2013 series, we found that 3/4 of all mobile money services plan to increase their investment in mobile money next year. And from the annual reports of some of our members, we see these messages come out incredibly clearly. So Orange now has Orange, how should I say that, Orange? Has 5.6 million subscribers spread amongst their 14 markets with very fast rates of growth in 2012 across a number of those metrics. So transaction volumes they're seeing grow by 3 times, and the value transacted by 4 times, and subscribers by 1.7 times. For Millicom, one of those organizations that is looking at taking this as a core service and a separate business unit within their organization, mobile money generates $40 million of revenue for them now. It's only 1% of the overall total for Millicom, but it's an impressive 322% year-on-year growth. And it has an 8.4% mobile financial services penetration with their 3.9 million subscribers. So again, now a substantial business unit within the organization. MTN has 11 markets where it's offering mobile money services to over 10 million subscribers, and that contributes 0.5% of their overall revenue, so a lot of room for growth there. But this is a lot of transactions for them, around about 200 million transactions in 2012, and mobile money contributed 9% of the specific revenue around their telco services. Of course, the elephant in the room is M-Pesa, and that continues to grow phenomenally. And it really does stand alone in the level of scale that it produces. 17 million subscribers, 10.5 million of those active, delivering $1.38 of ARPU, and an overall contribution of 18% to Safaricom's revenue. And in Tanzania, M-Pesa is 14% of Vodacom's total revenue, up from 8% last year. So we're seeing this become something which is material to mobile operators and something which provides them with a phenomenal amount of activity. But it's not just a commercial story, and it's not just something that drives these impacts for mobile operators. Where we're seeing maturity, where we're seeing those markets, such as those 9 markets with over 1 million users, mobile money is becoming a platform for an entirely another level of innovation. And we see this most importantly in Kenya, but we are seeing something like this in a lot of the other markets. So we're seeing services in Kenya that use mobile money for access to energy, for utilities, for mobile payments, for a very broad range of services. And it's that second level of innovation which I think is going to be the true legacy of mobile money beyond just financial inclusion. You know, we know that the mobile services reach customers in a way that banks don't. So there's 4 countries with more mobile money accounts than bank accounts: Madagascar, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and 28 countries with more mobile money agents than bank branches. So we know the primary achievement that mobile money has achieved is this level of financial inclusion. But I think what we're going to see more in the next couple of years is its real achievement, which is providing this platform for innovation in entirely new industries to emerge in these markets. And that's, I think, is a really critical point. And one of the things I think that frustrates me personally when I see activities like M-Pesa transactions being taxed in Kenya is this is not so much a tax on the phenomenal growth that we're seeing within the operators and on their revenues from the service, but it is actually indirectly a tax on the innovators who are using M-Pesa and mobile money as a platform for their new businesses. You know, margins are tight in mobile money. You know, this is not something that is a massive margin driver for mobile operators. I won't mention their name, but one of the CEO of the African groups said he's never worked so hard for money before as he has in mobile money. You know, and it's a phenomenal amount of effort for what is actually a very little amount of return. And when something like a tax is put onto transactions, it means inevitably that is reflected in the individual transaction pricing. And whilst that does impact the operators, it really impacts margins for people who are building their businesses on top of mobile money. So I think we need to understand that the stage we're at the moment is not so much the beginning of the end of this phase of mobile money, but it's actually the end of the beginning of this particular part. And the most exciting bit where mobile money becomes the platform for more innovation, for more transactions, and for more new industries to get involved and to be able to build sustainable business models around mobile money transactions. This is when we're really going to see the power of what mobile money can do within countries and economies. And we need to make sure that we're still managing the regulatory environment and the transactional environment for that to happen. So that's an absolutely critical point that I think we need to understand about the evolution. It's not a mature market, even in Kenya. It's still very much at the very beginning. But mostly today we're here to talk about the success of the mobile money for the unbanked team, and I would dearly love to thank Seema and the rest of the team for delivering what's been a phenomenal program and a tremendous amount of results. I think we really can claim to have played a very strong role in developing this market and working with our operator partners to grow these services. So we do a number of key things to continue to drive this growth and to continue to drive this innovation. We identify and share those operational best practices, and you'll be seeing a lot of this today, as well as in the material on our websites and the reports that we deliver. We're engaging with the mobile money sector to promote this commercially viable interoperability and ecosystem development. We have to have systems that multiple people can use. Mobile money will be the platform for m-commerce, will be the platform for purchasing of digital content and transactions, will be the platform for utilities. Kenya Power moved its scratch card payments over to M-Pesa, and within 6 months, 70% of their users had moved from scratch cards to mobile payments. You know, this is a phenomenal potential, but we have to have systems that interoperate and work well together. And we continue to work with, crucially, the regulators to create these enabling regulatory environments where these services can flourish. And you'll see the Mobile Money Regulatory Handbook and database online, and I urge you to look at that and give us feedback and see how it's useful for you in your markets. Most importantly, and as we released the interim results in the press release this week, we help you all with our data and analysis and our benchmarking data. And I think the adoption service, the adoption survey that Claire Pennico in the MMU team has built into a phenomenal product is of massive use to everyone in the industry, because it gives us that snapshot of where we are. And more importantly, for the individual deployments, it gives people an idea of where they are in context of everybody else. And it's showing us what success looks like, and it's showing us what those key things that mobile money services do that makes them successful, reporting into the CEO, making sure that there's good ATL, making sure that you manage your agent network well and that you really optimize them to bring the right kind of active subscribers on board. So I think it's becoming one of those landmark pieces of research that really can help show and reflect what's happening in the industry, but then also drive the industry forward and make sure we're all successful. And finally, we've just released a collection of case studies showing lessons and insights from deployments in Zimbabwe, Pakistan, Somaliland, which I urge you to read. The Somali story is phenomenal, very, very interesting. Sri Lanka and Indonesia. And also mobile money data and publications can now be found on the GSMA intelligence website. We're doing a massive revamp of all of our data analysis within the GSMA to build around our GSMA-I, GSMA intelligence platform. And I urge you to look at them and use them, whether it's mobile development intelligence or the core GSMA intelligence services. We have absolutely amazing tools and data now that will be hugely useful to you. We'll continue to add more mobile money data and allow mobile money practitioners to access more insights and industry data. So we will now transition over to the next panel, and we'll kick off by looking at some of the exciting products and services riding the rails of mobile money, like credit scoring, bulk payments, and microfinance. So please join me in welcoming Camilla, Jonathan, Fatima, Kamal, and Elio to the stage. Thank you very much.